Divya Bharti's final night revealed the heartbreaking truth. No one was ready for it. The lights flashed brightly against the night sky, illuminating the vibrant streets of Mumbai like a million tiny stars. The city was alive, a cacophony of honking cars, bustling crowds, and the distant sound of music from a nearby celebration. But amid this dazzling chaos, a solitary question hung heavy in the air. What is the price of fame when the world is watching, but no one truly sees you? Divya Bharti stepped out of the sleek black limousine, her heart racing. The launch of her latest film was an event that promised to be a milestone in her burgeoning career, yet a wave of unease washed over her as she faced the throng of journalists and fans clamoring for her attention. The moment she graciously smiled and waved, she felt the familiar weight of expectations settle on her shoulders. She was the golden girl of Bollywood, the rising star everyone adored, yet she felt as if she was standing on the edge of a precipice with the ground crumbling beneath her. Dressed in a shimmering silver gown that hugged her curves and sparkled under the floodlights, Divya looked every bit the part of a film star. Her long, dark hair cascaded over her shoulders, framing a face that radiated beauty, yet her eyes betrayed an unspoken complexity, an inner turmoil that no one could perceive amidst the glamour. The ecstatic cheers from her fans momentarily lifted her spirits, but as she stepped onto the red carpet, the knot in her stomach tightened, reminding her of the relentless scrutiny that came with her success. Beside her, Meera Sharma, her closest friend and confidant, moved with a quiet grace. Meera had always been a steady presence in Divya's life, someone who understood the pressures of the industry and the toll it took on her friend. With her short, chic haircut and a sharp eye for detail, Meera was the practical counterbalance to Divya's ethereal charm. She glanced at Divya, who was now posing for photographers, and felt a pang of concern as she noticed the flicker of uncertainty in her friend's smile. "Divya, breathe," Meera whispered, her voice barely audible over the noise. "You're incredible. Just be yourself." But behind the glitz and glamour, Divya felt increasingly isolated. The laughter of her fans and the flashing cameras felt like a double-edged sword, a reminder of the world's adoration mixed with the crushing burden of expectation. Each time she posed, she could almost hear the tabloids scraping the surface for dirt, speculating about her life, her choices, and her sanity. It was as if she was both the star of the show and a prisoner of her own fame. As she made her way through the crowd, her heart raced with conflicting emotions. The exhilaration of being in the spotlight was overshadowed by an unsettling sensation that she was losing herself in the role everyone wanted her to play. She plastered on a dazzling smile, but inside, she felt like a ghost, haunted by the very thing she had once longed for. "Divya, over here," shouted a reporter, desperately vying for her attention. The question hung in the air, but the answer eluded her. What was her truth? What lay behind the facade of the glamorous life that everyone envied? Suddenly, a flash of movement caught her eye. A young girl, no more than 10 years old, pushed her way through the crowd, clutching a worn-out poster of Divya from her very first film. "Divya, I love you," the girl shouted, her voice filled with pure admiration. For a brief moment, Divya's heart soared. This was why she had worked so hard, why she had sacrificed so much, to inspire young girls like this one. But just as quickly, the weight of reality crashed down on her. Did this girl know the fear that crept into Divya's mind every time she faced the camera? Did she understand the loneliness that accompanied the bright lights? Divya knelt down to meet the girl's gaze, and for a fleeting moment, she felt a connection that transcended the chaos. "Thank you," she said softly, but the words felt hollow. She smiled for the cameras, but deep down, she was battling a storm of insecurities that threatened to consume her. As the night wore on, the event was filled with laughter, applause, and celebration. Yet, inside the glamour, Divya felt a growing sense of emptiness. She was at the pinnacle of her career, yet surrounded by a sea of faces, she felt utterly alone. The laughter around her echoed like a distant memory, reminding her of the warmth she once felt in her craft, now overshadowed by the relentless pursuit of perfection. When the evening drew to a close, and the last of the fans had been ushered away, Divya found herself standing on the balcony of the venue, overlooking the dazzling skyline of Mumbai. The city sparkled under the moonlight, a beautiful facade hiding the darker realities of life. It was here, away from the clamor, that she allowed herself a moment of vulnerability. Divya. Meera's voice broke through the silence, her footsteps soft as she approached. Are you okay? Divya took a deep breath, turning to face her friend. I don't know, Meera. I feel like I'm losing myself. Everyone wants something from me, but I don't even know what I want anymore. Her voice trembled slightly, betraying the turmoil within. Meera stepped closer, concern etched on her face. You don't have to have it all figured out. You're still you, no matter what they say. Just promise me you'll talk to me if it gets too much. Looking into Meera's eyes, Divya felt a flicker of warmth. I promise, she replied, though deep inside, she wasn't sure if that promise could be kept. The pressures of the industry, the constant expectations, and the public's insatiable thirst for perfection weighed heavily on her heart. As the night deepened, the city continued to pulse with life. But for Divya, the real battle was just beginning. The vibrant lights that once drew her in now felt like a spotlight exposing her vulnerabilities, and the glamorous world she inhabited was starting to feel like a gilded cage. Unbeknownst to her, the events of this night would set in motion a series of revelations that would change everything, forcing her to confront the heartbreaking truth that no one was truly ready to face. The night air was thick with excitement and tension as Divya Bharti stepped into the grand venue, a luxurious hotel ballroom adorned with glittering chandeliers and elegant decor. The laughter of well-dressed guests mingled with the chatter of reporters eagerly awaiting their chance to capture the star of the evening. Divya smiled, her dazzling exterior a stark contrast to the turmoil brewing within. As she navigated through the sea of familiar faces, her heart pounded like a drum. Each smile felt like a mask, hiding the truth of her struggles beneath layers of glamour. She was the center of attention, yet she felt more isolated than ever. The pressure to maintain her image as the perfect actress was suffocating, and with each passing moment, the weight of expectation grew heavier on her shoulders. Meera Sharma, Divya's best friend and confidant, noticed the flicker of unease in Divya's eyes as they reached the center of the ballroom. You look stunning, Divya. Just remember, it's okay to be human, Meera whispered, her voice a soothing balm against the chaos. Divya managed a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. Thanks, Meera. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up, Divya confessed, her voice barely above a whisper, the words lost. Amid the clinking of glasses and laughter surrounding them, Meera's expression shifted from supportive to concerned. What do you mean? You're the star everyone adores. You have it all. Divya's gaze fell to the floor, her thoughts spiraling. Do I really? Or am I just a character in a script that everyone else has written for me? The question hung in the air, heavy with uncertainty. Before Meera could respond, a commotion erupted nearby. A group of journalists had gathered around Ravi Kapoor, the ambitious filmmaker who was also Divya's current director. Ravi was charismatic but often oblivious to the emotional toll his demands placed on Divya. He had been relentless in pushing her to embody the ideal leading lady, a relentless pursuit of perfection that Divya now found exhausting. Divya, come here, Ravi called, his voice booming over the crowd. We need to get some shots of you with the fan club. They're dying to see their favorite actress. Divya felt a pang of dread. She knew that posing for photographs and engaging with fans was part of the job, but the prospect of putting on a facade for the sake of others made her feel trapped. I'll be right there, she replied, forcing a smile as she turned to Meera. I need a moment. Just give me a second. Meera nodded, her concern deepening as Divya stepped back into a quieter area of the ballroom. She leaned against a wall, trying to catch her breath. The walls felt like they were closing in on her, the laughter and music fading into a dull roar. In the dim light, she pulled out her phone and stared at the screen, scrolling through the relentless stream of notifications. Each headline screamed about her latest movie, her glamorous outfits, and her supposed love life. Yet, buried beneath the glitz, whispers of her struggling mental health began to surface, fueling speculation and gossip. Divya Bharti is losing her grip, one headline read. Another suggested she was dating someone in the industry, a rumor she had never confirmed. The pressure was mounting, and she felt as though she was teetering on the edge. As if on cue, Meera appeared beside her, concern etched on her face. Hey, you okay? You don't have to do this if you don't want to. Divya sighed, the weight of her friend's support bringing a flicker of comfort. I just feel so overwhelmed. I thought I wanted this life. But now, her voice trailed off, the uncertainty consuming her. Divya, listen to me, Meera urged, her tone firm yet gentle. You don't have to be perfect. You're allowed to feel lost. You're allowed to take a step back if that's what you need. Divya looked into Meera's eyes, finding solace in her unwavering support. There's this big event coming up next week. I'm supposed to announce something major about my career, but I don't even know if I want to keep going. Then don't. You have the power to say no. Your mental health matters more than any film or public appearance, Meera replied, her voice steady. We can figure this out together. Divya nodded, but the fear of letting everyone down loomed over her like a dark cloud. What will people think if I step away? What if they see me as a failure? Divya, you're not a failure. You're human, and it's okay to prioritize yourself, Meera reassured her. You're not just an actress, you're my best friend, and I care about you. As the warmth of their friendship enveloped her, Divya felt a flicker of hope. But before she could voice her thoughts, Ravi's voice boomed through the crowd again, calling for her. Reluctantly, she straightened her posture, plastering a smile on her face, the mask slipping back into place. Let's go show them the real you, Meera said, giving her a gentle nudge. Just remember, you're not alone in this. Divya took a deep breath, steeling herself for the onslaught of cameras and flashing lights. As she stepped back into the public eye, the weight of her internal conflict pressed down harder than ever. The cheers and applause washed over her, a bittersweet reminder of the adoration she had longed for, yet now felt trapped within. The event unfolded in a blur of lights and applause, each click of the camera echoing her inner turmoil. Divya posed, smiled, and laughed, her heart aching with the knowledge that beneath the surface she was crumbling. The whispers of doubt grew louder, drowning out the cheers and applause. She felt lost in a world where she was both adored and misunderstood. As she glanced at the sea of faces, an overwhelming sense of isolation washed over her. The crowd adored the idea of Divya Bharti, the star, but no one truly understood the person behind the facade. In that moment, she realized that the painful truth of fame was that it could leave one feeling utterly alone, even when surrounded by thousands. The pressure to maintain the perfect image felt insurmountable, and the thought of her upcoming announcement loomed like a dark cloud. As the night wore on, Divya found herself increasingly withdrawn. She smiled and engaged with fans, but her heart wasn't in it. The laughter around her felt distant, like a beautiful melody she could no longer hear. All she could think about was her conversation with Meera and the weight of the decision she would have to make soon. Finally, as the event began to wind down, she slipped away to a quieter corner of the ballroom, hoping for a moment of solitude. Leaning against the wall, she closed her eyes, allowing the noise to fade into the background. She felt the tears prick at her eyes, a release of the emotions she had been holding back. Just then, Meera found her, concern etched on her face. Divya, are you okay? You've been really quiet. I can see you're struggling. Divya opened her eyes, a mix of gratitude and sadness washing over her. I don't know, Meera. I thought this was what I wanted. But now, I just feel lost. Maybe it's time to take a step back and really think about what you want, Meera suggested gently. You don't have to make a decision right now. Just take it one day at a time. Divya nodded, appreciating her friend's wisdom. But the nagging fear of what would happen if she stepped away from the spotlight gnawed at her. What if I let everyone down? What if I'm not strong enough to face the backlash? Divya, strength isn't about never feeling fear. It's about acknowledging it and choosing to act in spite of it, Meera said. You're stronger than you know. And I'll be right here, no matter what you decide. Divya took a deep breath, the warmth of Meera's words offering a small comfort in her storm of emotions. Thank you, Meera. I don't know what I'd do without you. As they stood together in that quiet corner, Divya realized how much she needed to confront her inner demons. The pressure, the expectations, and the fear of disappointing others had become a suffocating weight. She knew she had to make a choice soon, and it terrified her. The event ended, and as the guests began to disperse, Divya felt a mix of relief and dread. She had survived another night of being the perfect actress, but at what cost? The heartache of her reality loomed large, a reminder that the truth of her struggles was far more profound than any headline could convey. Hey, before we leave, can I ask everyone to subscribe to the channel? Meera asked, breaking the heavy silence. It would mean the world to us, and we have so much more to share with you all. Divya smiled at her friend, grateful for the reminder of the support system she had. Yes, please. Your support means everything, and we want to continue sharing our journey with you. As they left the event, Divya's mind was a whirlwind of thoughts. She knew she had to confront her feelings and make a decision about her future, but for now, she took comfort in the small moments of connection and the unwavering support of her best friend. What lay ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. Divya Bharti was ready to face the truth, even if it was the hardest thing she ever had to do. The vibrant lights of Mumbai pulsed like a living heartbeat as Divya Bharti stepped onto the red carpet for what was meant to be a night of celebration. Yet, beneath the glitz and glamour, an unshakable tension twisted in her stomach. She smiled for the cameras, her face a mask of poise, but inside, a tempest raged. The music blared, drowning out her thoughts, and the crowds cheered, but she felt achingly alone. Ravi Kapoor, her director and a man who had once inspired her dreams, stood off to the side, his expression a mixture of pride and possessiveness. He had put so much pressure on her to deliver a flawless performance, but as she locked eyes with him, she felt the mounting expectations suffocating her. The world saw her as a star, but all she could feel was the weight of their judgment pressing down on her fragile spirit. As the evening progressed, the air grew thick with the scent of expensive perfumes and the sound of laughter, yet none of it reached her. She could hear the whispers of the tabloids echoing in her mind, the headlines that claimed she was spiraling out of control. What if they were right? What if the facade she maintained so meticulously was crumbling? Divya. A voice pierced through her hedge. It was Meera, her steadfast friend, rushing to her side. You okay? You look a little pale. Divya forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. I'm fine. Just a bit tired. Meera studied her closely, concern etched on her face. You don't have to pretend with me. Remember, I'm here for you. Thanks, Meera. I appreciate it. Divya's voice quivered, the weight of her turmoil spilling over. I don't know if I can keep this up. It's like no one sees me, only the image they want to see. Meera squeezed her hand, grounding her momentarily. You're not just an image, Divya. You're so much more than that. But just as her friend's words began to sink in, the atmosphere shifted. Ravi approached, a fire in his eyes. Divya, we need to talk. Now. Divya's heart sunk. She knew what this was about, the endless demands, the unyielding pursuit of perfection. Can't it wait? She replied, her voice wavering. No, it can't. We're on a tight schedule, and you need to pull yourself together. This is your moment, and I can't have you messing it up. His tone was sharp, cutting through the noise of the celebration. Messing it up. Divya's voice rose, startling those nearby. Is that what you think this is? Just a performance? Ravi's eyes narrowed. You're not making this easy. I'm trying to support you, but you need to meet me halfway. Support? Is that what this is? She gestured around them, her emotions boiling over. You want me to be your perfect little actress, but what if I want something different? What if I want to be me? The crowd continued to buzz around them, but in that moment, it felt like they were the only two people in the world. Divya could feel the heat of their argument drawing attention, the murmurs of onlookers slicing through her already frayed nerves. Divya, stop. Ravi's voice was low and intense, his frustration evident. You're a star. Stars don't have the luxury of being themselves. You need to perform. In that instant, something inside her snapped. She turned on her heel, the world around her fading into a blur of lights and noise. I can't do this anymore, she shouted, her voice breaking. I need air. With those words, she pushed through the throngs of admirers, leaving behind the glitz and glamour that once filled her with joy. As she stepped into the cool night, the cacophony of Mumbai enveloped her, a stark contrast to the suffocating atmosphere inside. The streets felt alive, and yet, she felt utterly lost. She wandered aimlessly, her mind racing. The moon hung high above, casting a silvery glow on the pavement. The pressure of being a public figure felt crushing, and the facade she wore began to unravel with each step she took. She needed a moment to breathe, to think, to be herself, whoever that was. As she strolled through the nearly empty streets, her heart ached with the weight of her choices. Suddenly, a group of young fans caught her eye. They were laughing and taking selfies, their faces alight with excitement. They spotted her, their expressions shifting from surprise to adoration. "Divya! Oh my God, it's really you," one of them exclaimed, rushing forward with wide eyes. Divya felt a flicker of warmth at their enthusiasm, but it was quickly overshadowed by a profound sadness. They didn't know her. They didn't see the turmoil behind her smile or the fear that gripped her heart. They saw only the image crafted by the industry, a perfect star. "Can we take a picture?" another fan asked, bouncing on their heels. Divya hesitated. She was torn between the desire to embrace their admiration and the urgent need to escape the very spotlight that had once thrilled her. She forced a smile, stepping closer to the group, but as she posed for the photo, her heart sunk deeper into despair. "Thank you for being you," one fan shouted, and in that moment, Divya felt a sharp pang of realization. They loved her for what she represented, not for who she truly was. As she broke away from the group, a memory flashed in her mind. A time long before the fame, when she would perform for her family in their small living room, free and unburdened by the weight of expectation. She recalled the joy in her mother's smile, the laughter of her friends as they watched her dance and act, believing in her dreams without the taint of judgment or scrutiny. "Divya, wait," a familiar voice called out, interrupting her thoughts. It was Meera, running towards her, breathless. "I was looking for you." Divya turned, the anguish evident on her face. "Meera, I can't do this anymore. I don't want to be this person. I don't want to be a commodity." Meera's expression shifted from concern to understanding. "You don't have to be. You're more than what the industry makes you out to be. You can step back, take a break, find yourself again." "But what if they don't want me anymore?" Divya's voice quivered, the fear of losing everything clawing at her insides. "Then they don't deserve you," Meera replied firmly. "You're worth so much more than just what they see on the screen. You're human, Divya. You deserve to be happy." Divya felt tears prick her eyes. "I just wanted to be a star. I never thought it would come to this." "Being a star doesn't mean losing yourself," Meera said, stepping closer and taking Divya's hands. "You can shine without sacrificing who you are. You just need to be brave enough to make that choice." The weight of Meera's words settled over Divya like a warm embrace, and for the first time, she felt a flicker of hope. She could step back. She could reclaim her identity. But before she could voice her thoughts, the ground beneath her shifted. Suddenly, a commotion erupted nearby, drawing their attention. A group of paparazzi had gathered, their cameras flashing wildly. "There she is," one shouted, surging towards them. "Divya! Over here!" The instinct to flee surged within her, but the reality of the situation crashed down like a tidal wave. She was trapped in a world that demanded her to be more than just herself, a world that would expose her insecurities to the world. "Divya, let's go," Meera urged, pulling her away from the encroaching crowd. But it was too late. The flash of cameras blinded her momentarily, and the questions bombarded her like bullets. "Is it true you're quitting? What's going on with you and Ravi? Are you okay?" The breath hitched in her throat, and in that moment, she realized the truth. She had been living on the edge of a precipice, teetering between the person she was and the image they wanted her to be. But she was about to make a choice that would change everything. With a sudden surge of clarity, Divya stepped forward, pushed back against the tide of journalists, and raised her voice above the chaos. "You want to know the truth?" she shouted, her heart racing. "Here it is. I'm not okay. I'm tired of pretending. I'm stepping back to figure out who I really am." The crowd fell silent, and for a moment, the world around her faded. The weight of her revelation hung heavily in the air, a truth that echoed her deepest fears and desires. The cameras clicked, capturing the moment of vulnerability that she had long kept hidden, but she didn't care. In that instant, she felt free. As the murmurs began to ripple through the crowd, Divya turned to Meera, tears streaming down her cheeks but a newfound strength radiating from her. "I'm ready to find myself again. I won't let this industry define me." In the silence that followed her declaration, the realization dawned upon her. She was ready to reclaim her narrative. The journey ahead would be challenging, but for the first time, she felt the stirrings of hope. As she stepped away from the flashing lights, hand in hand with her best friend, Divya Bharti embraced her truth, ready to face whatever lay ahead. And in that moment, she knew she was not just a star, she was a woman, flawed and beautiful, charting her own course amidst the chaos of life. The night air was thick with anticipation as Divya Bharti stood on the balcony of her apartment, gazing at the twinkling lights of Mumbai. The city that once felt like a canvas for her dreams now seemed like a labyrinth of expectations and pressures. She had spent the night reflecting on everything that had transpired, the glitz, the glamour, but most importantly, the toll it had taken on her spirit. As the memories of her last encounter with Ravi replayed in her mind, she felt a wave of clarity wash over her. It was time to embrace authenticity over the facade of perfection that the film industry demanded. She had experienced the heights of fame, yes, but they had come with a price she could no longer afford. The superficial admiration of fans and the relentless scrutiny of tabloids had clouded her sense of self. Taking a deep breath, she picked up her phone and called Meera. The line rang, and she felt a flutter of anxiety. Would Meera understand? Would she support her decision? When her friend answered, Divya felt a rush of relief wash over her. "Meera, can we meet? I need to talk," Divya said, her voice steady yet filled with emotion. "Of course, Divya. I'll be right there," Meera replied, sensing the urgency in her tone. Within minutes, Meera arrived, her expression a mix of concern and curiosity. They settled into the cozy living room, the air thick with unspoken words. Divya took a moment to gather her thoughts. "Meera, I've been thinking a lot about everything, the fame, the pressure, and how lost I feel. I don't want to be just a name in the headlines anymore. I want to be me," Divya confessed, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. Meera leaned forward, her gaze unwavering. "Divya, you don't have to pretend to be someone you're not. You've always been more than just an actress. You're a kind, talented person, and that's what matters." Taking a deep breath, Divya continued, "I want to take a break from acting. I need time to reconnect with myself, to explore who I am beyond the screen. I hope you'll support me in this." Meera's face softened, and she reached out to hold Divya's hand. "Of course, I will. You deserve this, Divya. It's your life, and you have to live it for yourself, not for others." The two friends embraced, and in that moment, Divya felt a weight lift off her shoulders. The decision to step back was not a retreat but a courageous step towards rediscovery. As the weeks passed, Divya embraced her newfound freedom. She spent her days exploring the city, visiting art galleries, and reconnecting with her passion for storytelling. She even began volunteering at a local shelter, finding joy in helping others rather than seeking validation through fame. During this time, she often reflected on her childhood dreams. The little girl who had once wished for the stars was still there, buried beneath layers of expectation. Now, she was determined to bring that girl back to life. One evening, while sifting through old photographs, Divya stumbled upon a picture of herself at a school play. She was beaming with joy, unencumbered by the weight of the world. An idea sparked in her mind. Why not use her platform to inspire others? With renewed purpose, Divya decided to create a documentary series that focused on the struggles and triumphs of artists in the industry, shedding light on the often hidden challenges they faced. She envisioned a project that would not only tell their stories but also foster a sense of community and support among struggling artists. As she reached out to fellow artists for collaboration, Divya felt a sense of excitement she hadn't experienced in years. She was no longer just an actress, she was a storyteller, a creator eager to make a difference. Months later, as she stood on stage at the premiere of her documentary series, she felt a profound sense of fulfillment. The audience was filled with familiar faces, friends, colleagues, and supporters who had cheered her on during her journey. With confidence, Divya addressed the crowd, her heart swelling with gratitude. "Thank you all for being here tonight. This project is not just about me, it's about all of us. It's about the stories we share and the struggles we face as artists. I hope this series inspires you to embrace your true selves and to support one another in this journey. The applause that followed was deafening, but it was not the applause she craved. It was the connection she felt with the audience that truly resonated within her. As she stepped down from the stage, she caught sight of Meera in the crowd, tears of joy streaming down her face. They locked eyes, and in that moment, Divya knew she had made the right choice. In her heart, she understood that the journey of self-discovery was ongoing. While the world of fame and glamour may have its allure, nothing compared to the joy of being true to oneself and the power of authentic connections. As the evening wound down, Divya took a moment to reflect on her journey. She had faced the darkness of her own insecurities, but in doing so, she had uncovered a light that shone brighter than any spotlight. And as the credits rolled on her documentary series and the audience began to disperse, she felt a gentle tap on her shoulder. It was Ravi. "I'm proud of you, Divya. You've shown incredible strength," he said sincerely. "Thank you, Ravi. I've learned that it's okay to step away from the spotlight to find your true self. I hope you'll join me on this journey of storytelling," she replied. With a genuine smile, Ravi nodded. "I'd love that." As they walked out into the Mumbai night, Divya felt a sense of hope and possibility. The world could be a beautiful place when you chose to live authentically. And as the camera panned out, capturing the vibrant city that had both challenged and embraced her, Divya's story became a testament to the power of resilience, self-acceptance, and the importance of supporting one another. If you've enjoyed Divya's journey and want to explore more stories of resilience and authenticity, please like, comment, and subscribe to our channel. Hit the notification bell so you never miss an inspiring tale. Let's continue to celebrate the beauty of real stories together.